What would you say are the main reasons you use video in the majority of your depositions?
Well, I think first of all, after having read deposition transcripts for some 40 years, there's a lot of things that happen in a deposition that are just not captured on paper. A pause, a long pause, a blank stare by the deponent, absolute sheer terror on the eyes of the deponent. That doesn't come across on a transcript. The one deposition that I'm thinking about specifically for the dentist, this occurred at about the fourth or fifth hour of the deposition, and the questions were becoming increasingly more difficult for him. And literally, I could not believe what happened. But as I'm asking him questions, he actually put his hands on the arms of the chair and started doing push-ups. Literally, he did about 5 push-ups in between answering questions. That was never captured, could never be captured on a transcript of a deposition. It was priceless on the video. And what happened in that deposition was, while he's trying to think of what to answer as far as a question, he keeps darting with his eyes over to his attorney, like he's at, what am I going to do? And at one point his attorney says, I can't help you, you have to answer this yourself. Those little moments are priceless. Now, the other thing I like to do, especially with doctors, and that's who I use this primarily with, I will say to them to increase their awareness of the seriousness of the situation. I'll say, doctor, would you please direct your attention directly into the camera and speak to the jury and explain to the jury what you just told me in layman's terms, with the idea that this is going to be used and this is really serious. That tends to get them even a little bit more serious about what we're doing. The other thing that I like about video, I've not had very many of my clients videoed. I wish in some cases more were. What it says to me, as soon as the defense says they want to video my client, that means this is going to claims committee. It's going to higher ups. And they want not only the attorney's impression of my client, they not only want to read the transcript, but they want to see my client in person. And the one that I can honestly think of that went for 7 hours on video, that case settled for 7 figures, and I could tell after my client did quite well during her deposition that that was going to be a plus for her and for her case. The other thing that I like to use the videos for, if I'm doing a focus group and I do want to show the focus group what the defendant actually looked like, the video is the perfect way to do it. Most times my client is not present at the videotape deposition of the defendant doctor. And this is one way for my client, who in most cases, for whatever reason, in dental negligence cases, are females, and for whatever reasons the defendants are all male, usually oral surgeons or periodontists. And appropriately or inappropriately, there is a factor in which the female patient client feels absolutely intimidated by the doctor, felt intimidated during the relationship or whatever, and has a difficult time emotionally and psychologically even confronting the doctor as far as litigation is concerned. And they love to be able to watch the video after the fact. The other advantage that became painfully aware in a jury trial in Jefferson County about 2 years ago. We had flown to Las Vegas to take the deposition of an oral surgeon in a case that was pending. Now, this oral surgeon was not a defendant. He was a doctor who treated my client while she was a patient at the hospital in Las Vegas. Did not realize at the time that his testimony was going to be so key to the case. Turned out it was very key to the case. turned out that when we went to trial, he absolutely refused to come from Las Vegas for the trial. Turned out he was very uncooperative. And what we ended up doing is we got some quote-unquote professional readers to read the deposition transcript during the trial. It just lost all of the impact and all of the punch. If we could have taken video clips of the key aspects of that doctor's deposition, it would have been much more powerful. There is a case in which I tried in Arapahoe County in 2012, an automobile case. The defendant was surprisingly arrogant during his deposition. I had no idea what to expect, but it came across as very arrogant in the deposition. He was driving a Dodge Ram 2500 pickup truck towing a full 30-foot trailer with machinery on it, and hit my client at 35 miles an hour in a Subaru that buckled the roof, shattered out all the glass, and she had glass in her hair. And his comment was, if I had 5 more feet of stopping distance, I never would have hit her, and that I was only going 5 miles per hour. The arrogance with which he said that was something that I found striking. But the second thing was, I said, well, do you accept responsibility for this collision? And he goes, I don't know. And I said, well, what do you mean you don't know? You acknowledged that your vehicle hit her vehicle, correct? Yes. Well, why don't you know? He goes, I just don't know. I'll have to have a jury tell me whether I am or I am not responsible. So what I did was I forced the issue. And by forcing the issue, I wanted to play video clips of him in my case in chief rather than calling him to the witness stand, because, of course, when he showed up at court, he had a suit and tie on, and he was a construction worker, and that's how he came to his deposition. The defense finally agreed that if the defense could play certain portions of their redirect of their examination of their own client during the videotape deposition, we could use pretty much that deposition as their client's testimony, in which case they didn't call him at all, even in their case. So we played 40 minutes of the defendant in excerpts in my case, with him sitting there telling the jury, I don't know if I'm responsible or not, I need a jury to tell me. And it turned out quite well for the plaintiff.